casting James Bond in an Indiana Jones movie is pure genius. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade sees the return of director Steven Spielberg and stars Harrison Ford, Denholm Elliot and John-Rhys-Davies, alongside newcomers Sean Connery, Julian Glover and Alison Doody. The story is set in 1938, as Professor Henry Jones Sr. goes missing while pursuing the Holy Grail, as Indiana Jones now must save his dad and stop the Nazis from obtaining its powers. Just to give you guys a heads up, there will be spoilers in this review, so that's your warning. A quick reminder that if you enjoy my movie reviews, hit the like and subscribe buttons, and be sure to hit the notification bell to keep up to date with the latest content. One of the reasons why The Last Crusade works so well is how the search for the artifact this time round is not necessarily a physical one, but an emotional one for Indiana Jones. That being Indy going on a mission to find his father, which in turn will help him find the Grail. And in this respect, the story for The Last Crusade is the most character-driven of the four movies, but I say that in the best way possible. The conflict for Indy is the estranged dynamic between himself and his father, and his attempts to reconcile their fractured relationship throughout the story. This emotional storytelling allows us to see another side to Indy that we haven't seen before on screen, as his regret for the lack of time that his father has spent with him humanises the character that much more. Harrison Ford still owns the Indiana Jones role in the same way that Robert Downey Jr. owns the Iron Man role, as Ford is still able to bring the same level of charm, confidence and humour that made the character so popular in the first place. Indy's relationship with his father, or lack of, allows Ford to showcase his dramatic acting chops in a way that the first two movies of the series didn't facilitate. And in my opinion, this is Ford's best portrayal of the character, as the dramatic aspects that he's able to convey in Indy makes the character three-dimensional and complements the heroic elements that we're so used to seeing at this point. Connery is believable as a professor of medieval literature and comes across as someone who is wise and intelligent, much like his son's daytime profession as a college professor. But what I love most about Connery's performance is the levity that he's able to bring to his portrayal of Indy's dad, as there were several moments that genuinely made me laugh. Some of the standout moments include when Henry Sr. tells his son that Elsa talks in her sleep, and when he tells Indy that they don't come much closer than that, as the Nazis chase them before a bomb falls within several feet of the car that they're in. The chemistry between Ford and Connery is on point, as I bought into their estranged relationship, as well as enjoying both actors diving into the emotional elements of their characters. The rest of the cast all turn in great performances, as it was a delight to see Marcus Brody and Salah come back into this film, played excellently once again by John-Rhys-Davies and Denholm Elliot, and it was also great to see Julian Glover and Alison Doody be excellent villains in their respective roles. Steven Spielberg is just as assured behind the camera for this movie as he was when he directed Raiders several years prior. Spielberg walks a masterful tightrope in giving fans what they want, which is seeing Indy kick ass and going on an adventure to try and retrieve an artifact, while simultaneously making the movie at its core a journey of reconciliation between Indy and his dad. Raiders, in my opinion, will still remain the standard when it comes to action filmmaking, but The Last Crusade is respectfully a close second when it comes to this element. The opening set piece is one of my favourites, as Spielberg allows us to explore Indy at a much younger point in his life, while providing the thrills that we've come to expect from an opening scene of an Indy movie. The great thing about this scene is that we learn pretty much everything we need to know about Indy, from the famous whip that he has, which he uses to tame a lion, to the famous scar that Harrison Ford has on his chin, which is smartly incorporated into the canon of the character. This scene, like all of the action, is expertly shot by cinematographer Douglas Slocum, as Spielberg consistently creates a sense of dread as to whether or not Indy will save his dad and Marcus Brody. From the moment when Indy is hanging on the edge of the tank being smashed by piles of debris, to the scene where he's having a fist fight with the Nazi officer on top of the moving tank, Spielberg keeps the whole scene fresh and exciting, and it still remains a high point in the series when it comes to action. John Williams crafts the best and most emotionally satisfying score of the series. There are several new themes in this movie, on top of the established ones that we know and love, with the standout one being the Grail theme. This theme perfectly captures the wonder and mystery of the Grail, and serves as a motif of sorts for the relationship between Indy and his father. So overall, while Raiders is the more influential and iconic movie, The Last Crusade still remains a high point in the franchise, as the addition of Indy's dad in the story adds a more emotional aspect to the character of Indiana Jones. This is coupled with top performances from Harrison Ford, Sean Connery and the rest of the cast, some of the best action filmmaking in the series, and an emotionally satisfying score from John Williams, as of course Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade gets a perfect 10 out of 10. So I now hand it over to you guys, as I want to find out whether or not you enjoyed The Last Crusade, and where do you think this ranks in the Indiana Jones series, as I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.